and therefore the money is dying. It's obviously dying in Venezuela. It's obviously dying in Argentina, but it's dying everywhere in the world, even in the United States and in Western Europe. So when you lose confidence in the money, then you start thinking about commodity monies. If I can't trust the bank, if I can't move the money cross border, and if the currency is losing value every year or every month, then I start thinking about commodity monies.
Michael Saylor, the CEO and co-founder of MicroStrategy, the Fortune 500 software company, gave a very public told you so to his critics regarding crypto. Saylor, whose company has acquired more than 140,000 Bitcoin for nearly $4.17 billion, posted a chart on Twitter showing the performance of the world's largest cryptocurrency since August 2020, when MicroStrategy adopted its Bitcoin strategy. Compared with the S&P 500, the Nasdaq, gold, silver, and bonds. Over this period, Bitcoin is up 147%. In comparison, the stock market index tracking the performance of 500 of the largest companies listed in the U.S. is up 23%. The tech-heavy Nasdaq comes with 12% gains and gold just 1%. Meanwhile, silver and bonds are down 9% and 16% respectively. It can be reasonably assumed that Michael Saylor is now flagging up these figures following the considerable, harsh, and often personal criticism he faced last year during the so-called crypto winter. Due to the contagion effect driven largely by the collapse of crypto unicorns, Bitcoin's value lost 70% in 2022, drawing the ire of traditional financiers and media commentators who claimed that the crypto firebrand investor was being wholly irresponsible and gambling by going all in on Bitcoin. Critics also slammed MicroStrategy's decision to borrow the money to buy the Bitcoin. But throughout the troughs of last year and into the bull run of 2023, it's up 55% in the first quarter alone. Saylor has publicly maintained utter confidence in the cryptocurrency. Let us now get into the video. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and drop your comments.
The thing everybody's been talking about is, what are the commodity monies? Is it gold? Are we going to trade oil? Are we going to move timber, soybeans? Well, what are your choices? If you want to move $10 million in gold, that's 350 pounds. So when it comes time to actually trade $10 million of gold, it's going to cost you $250,000 in insurance and shipping fees to move 350 pounds of gold. If I wanted to move $10 million of oil, that's 125,000 barrels of oil. That's $400,000 to ship the oil from New York to London. Okay, that doesn't make any sense, not to mention the fact the average person doesn't have space for 125,000 barrels of oil. You want to move, property, $10 million of property is an apartment building. How do I move an apartment building from Africa to South America to North America? That's not happening at all, right? So what about a painting? Okay, well, a painting's pretty efficient, a $10 million painting. The problem is it's physical, it's fragile, it's non-fungible, which means that it might burn, it might get soaked, it might get lost, it might get stolen. But if it doesn't get any of those things and you want to trade it to the rich counterparty in London, you're paying anywhere from $500,000 to $2 million in auction fees just to trade $10 million of money in the form of a painting. So, what do we have left, right? I mean, securities, you can't move $10 million of stocks across a border because they're trapped by the counterparty. Holding $10 million of an ETF at 50 to 100 basis points a year is going to cost you $500,000 to $1 million to store your money in securities. So now you see, what's $10 million of Bitcoin? 300 Bitcoin. So I can have 300 Bitcoin on a hardware wallet. I could, in theory, just remember it with a 12-word seed phrase. I can move it cross-border anywhere in the world.
Are you a gaming, blockchain, or Web3 enthusiast looking for an opportunity to play exciting games for fun, play to earn, own amazing personal game items, be a part of a governance DAO, and connect with millions of players, developers, and content creators worldwide? Then this is the perfect opportunity for you. Introducing AI GameToEarn, a platform that provides a set of exciting games for gamers as well as exciting tools and services for building, deploying, and managing blockchain-based games and applications. With AI GameToEarn, players can play any of the available blockchain games for fun, to earn the platform's tokens or compete with other gamers for mouth-watering prizes paid out in Ether. You can also mint or buy the platform's avatar NFTs to play games, stake them for mouth-watering rewards, or lend to other players to earn a percentage of their profit. Gamers can upgrade and customize their avatars to enhance their gameplay or buy other game items for the ultimate gaming experience. All gaming assets are tied to the players and stored on the blockchain for utmost transparency and security. This May, Web3 gaming just got more exciting and rewarding. AI GameToEarn is launching its early access with a monthly $100,000 leaderboard to be distributed among 100 of the most successful players. To participate and stand a chance to be one of the lucky gamers, you only need to earn a whitelist spot and purchase 2 AI NFTs. These are now provenly the best-selling tools we have. Buy our AI NFT for $18,888 and earn up to $1,000 a month by staking. Compete for a guaranteed $100,000 prize pool in the first month on our leaderboard. Join an exclusive and rapidly growing community with over 50,000 members combined in the past 10 days. This promises to be big and exciting. So hurry now. Click on the link in the description box to earn a whitelist spot and begin the ultimate gaming experience.
By the way, compare 300 Bitcoin as money versus a yacht. A $10 million yacht is 125 feet long, costs $2 million a year to maintain, and costs you $200,000 to move from America to Europe in about 4 weeks or 3 weeks. So you can see all the other forms of commodity money. They're not fast. They're expensive to maintain. They're physical. They're fragile. They're non-fungible. The fees are exorbitant. So if the world's struggling for a solution to commodity money, Bitcoin is the king commodity. It's better than every other physical commodity because it's digital, which means I can carry it in the palm of my hand. Try carrying 125,000 barrels of oil in the palm of your hand. It's better than that. And it's also better than every other commodity because it's scarce. It's a scarcity. If the price of oil goes up by a factor of 10, if the price of gold goes up by a factor of 10, if the price of anything goes up by a factor of 10, the collective intelligence of 8 billion people will produce more of it. But Bitcoin is the one thing you can't produce more of. So Bitcoin's the apex money because it's scarcity and it's digital. And of course, it's the dominant crypto network in the world. It's the one that everybody trusts. It's the one that's truly decentralized. It's the one that's acknowledged as an asset without an issuer. So I think the meltdown of the banks and the meltdown of currencies is driving a stampede of smart money to Bitcoin.
Last weekend, when legendary billionaire investors Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger, chairman and vice chairman of Berkshire Hathaway, were asked at a shareholders' meeting about the U.S. government's plans to monetize the enormous levels of national debt by printing money, which devalues the dollar for investors, Saylor noted Bitcoin fixes this. This underscores for many that he was right all along, as the financial environment has not changed since when back in August 2020, he introduced the Bitcoin strategy for his company as a treasury hedging asset over the US dollar. He further comments on how bad money is being cleared from the system. Let us hear his view on that.
Well, Bitcoin's market cap is about 500 billion right now. And the value of these financial instruments that I've talked about, all the other currencies, the securities, the properties, et cetera, it's 500 trillion or more. So Bitcoin is not 1%, it's 0.1%. So Bitcoin can increase by a factor of 10, and it's going to be a 1%er, and it can increase by a factor of 100. And by that time, there'll be a lot more of the other stuff. And so when Bitcoin goes up by a factor of 100, it'll probably be a 3-4% of the entire financial universe. The bad money that's get crowded out, David, to be clear, bonds, that's why they're crashing. Silver, that's why it's down 9% in 3 years. Gold, the reason that gold isn't returning any yield, why it's up 1% in 36 months of rampant hyperinflation around the world, is gold is now the glass money or the shell beads money or the stone coin money. It's just the gold bugs haven't quite got it through their head that it's antiquated, shiny rocks. All these things that are underperforming Bitcoin, they're the bad money. In addition, look at the peso. The peso used to trade 1 peso to the dollar. And today the peso is like 480 pesos to the dollar. So in 20 years, the peso has lost 99.8% of its value in Argentina. But in the past 12 months, it's collapsed by a factor of 2. And just last week, the Argentine central bank closed the doors and they said, you can no longer convert your pesos into Bitcoin on an exchange because they realized, according to Greshams Law, that people are going to be trading their pesos to Bitcoin as fast as they can. You see this going on with the Naira. You see that going on all through Africa. You'll see it going on everywhere in the world. What's going to happen is a stampede from weak monies, but there's so many of them, right? I mean, bad stocks, bad commodities, overvalued fiat currencies. People are going to stampede from those to strong monies. But of course, if you're one of 7 billion people and you don't have a brokerage account with a big bulge bracket Wall Street firm, you can't just buy the S&P 500 index and try to custody $10 million of the S&P index on an Android phone in Africa on Saturday, right? You can't custody it. And that means you can't trust your counterparties. So what we're going to see is a steady nonstop stream of monetary energy trickling from the weak monies and the weak assets to the strong assets. And Bitcoin just happens to be the strongest asset class in the world. Poorly understood, still not well understood, but it's a lot better understood when your bank freezes and they seize all your money and you're about to become bankrupt and or impoverished. Then it's easy to understand. It's harder to understand if you're a blue blood limousine, trust fund baby living in upper East Side, and you've got a portfolio of NASDAQ or S&P stocks, and then you think it's just an oddity.
Besides the critical matter of being a hedge, Saylor frequently tells his millions of social media followers about other Bitcoin fundamentals. These include that all transactions are traceable, visible, and unalterable, meaning there's a level of accountability unrivaled in traditional finance. The crypto advocate's confidence in Bitcoin remains unshakable, and now we're in a bull market. He seems keen to highlight how his faith in the cryptocurrency is paying off for MicroStrategy. He further talks about Bitcoin ordinals and the Lightning Network and how bullish he is on the new inventions in the chain.
Bitcoin is going to be the last network operating. And so people are starting to renew their interest in Bitcoin. A lot of capital is migrating into the Bitcoin network. The combination of SegWit and Taproot laid the foundation for people to build more intricate and more interesting applications on the Bitcoin network. But for a number of years, the developer community was focused upon all the other cryptos, and that's because they could issue tokens in order to finance their development. And so it was a fast money, easy money shortcut, and they were being boosted by the FTXs of the world, because FTX had infinite money. Now I think people are starting to ask the question, what's the ethically sound, technically sound, economically sound path forward? Okay. And that's a slower path. It took Lightning, for example, many, many years to gestate and get to the point where people are starting to build material applications on it, because Lightning was supported by venture capital in a conventional fashion. There was never a Lightning token issued that could be wash traded by FTX in order to pump it to the moon. So with regard to ordinals and inscriptions, I think people are starting to ask the question, in addition to moving money on the network, what else can I do on a crypto network if what I wanted was to burn a transaction that is immutable, share it on a ledger to the entire world, and know that it will last forever, right? What sort of things do I want to be immutable for the next 100 years? And what Bitcoin represents is it represents the most powerful cyber network, or the most powerful computer network in the world.
Argentina's central bank has called for its country's payment service providers to halt allowing for crypto asset support. On May 8th, the Banco Central de la República Argentina, BCRA, says that payment service providers are barred from conducting transactions involving crypto. Payment service providers that offer payment accounts may not carry out or facilitate operations with digital assets, including crypto assets that are not regulated by the competent national authority and authorized by the Central Bank of the Argentine Republic. The move from Argentina's central bank to block payment apps from offering crypto services comes as the country's currency continues to witness rapid debasement. The Argentinian peso is currently down over 98% from its all-time high against the US dollar, according to the government-approved exchange rate. However, the black market exchange rate that Argentinians use is reportedly almost twice as weak as the official rate that the government recognizes. Bitcoin is currently at all-time highs when priced in the Argentinian peso. The facts remain that facing inflation, rising interest rates, and reliance on the US dollar, Argentina could solve many of its problems with Bitcoin adoption. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give us a like, subscribe, and make sure to turn on notifications. Thanks for watching.